Hello class, I'm Terry Eldon. We've talked online, but I just want to update you on some of the things going on with our assignments. So I'm going to look at the syllabus. If you want to get that out, that might be helpful. I have updated this in the site in the weekly assignments, so if that's helpful, look there as well. This week, there will be no posting. Just a reminder, I said that last week. I want to have you focus your whole attention on the worksheet, which is one of the first things I want to talk about. But before I get there, I want to highlight that the reflection piece and the reading for this week are still part of your assignment. You're just not going to reply to them and post on them until next week, week number 6. Also, in addition to having you work on your worksheet, I would like to take the next 2 weeks and have a one-on-one conversation with you on the phone or a video chat. And so I have sent out a link to you on Google Docs for you to sign up for a time that works for you. If one of those doesn't work for you, email me personally and give me an idea of some of the times that might work, and let's schedule that. I just feel like this might be a great time to see, we're almost halfway through the class, where you are and how I can be of help to kind of launch you so the second part of the class goes well. So, your worksheet number 1 that's due on Friday. There are 2 appendix. You see Appendix A and B, and those are at the end of your syllabus. The first part of Appendix A is said, what is your foundation for ministry? It's naming and claiming your theological rocks. Now, I talked about this more specifically in the lecture last Thursday in class. If you're still having trouble after I explain this to you, I encourage you to watch that lecture if you haven't already. But the idea here is that there are 4 things: our theology, our view of church, our view of ministry, and our view of leadership, that all influence each other. Whether we start with ministry and go back to our view of church and our theology and then go to leadership, or whether we start with our theology and go to church or ministry, it doesn't matter. All of these, really our hope is that they're aligned. I think sometimes when we have issues in our congregations or in ministry, it's because our theology and our practice, or our theology and the way we're doing ministry, or our leadership patterns aren't all aligned. And so what these worksheets are a way for you to start kind of at the beginning, or backing up into what are your theological commitments that are going to ground you and are the place that you can go back to for your foundation each time. So rather than having you write a paper, which by the way is what you'll get to do at the second part of this class, at the last semester of your degree, is revisit all this and put it together in a more narrative form. But is to name 4 of your theological rocks, or things that are important to you theologically. We brainstormed some of these and did some exercises with this in class, and the brainstorm list that we came up with, I will post in my LutherNet. If you're struggling with saying, what is a theological rock? So is grace a theological rock? Yes. Is the Trinity a theological rock? Yes. Is a focus on God as the Spirit? Yes. Those are all things that could be theological rocks. So name that rock and then give a small 100 to 200 words, which is about a page, not even a full page, of what you mean by that rock. What's important to you about that? Why did you put that in there? And then what I want you to do is underneath that, just write 4 or 5 bullet points on a theological resource or a scripture reference. Maybe it's a commentary that goes with that scripture reference. Maybe it's just Ephesians 2 or something like that you want to put in regard to that. These are, so if you want to develop this more, or maybe work with other classes and wonder, I need more resources for this, you can start collecting them. So, theological rock, a short page description of why this rock is important to you, and then 4 to 5 theological resources or scripture reference. And you do that for all 4 of them. So, as you would guess, this is just over 4 pages to have that, all right? The second part of this worksheet is then taking those theological rocks and putting them into a narrative form about then what does this mean as you think about your view of church. And particularly I want, since we're looking at a missional ecclesiology or missional view of looking at church, I really encourage you to make sure that you're describing why does the world need to be on our view of church? Why are we called ensign, for example, with regard to that? So describe your view of church based on your theological rocks and make sure you have an eye towards the world. Now this is 250 to 500 words, so that's 1 to 2 pages, a little bit maybe in that range. And then the part 2 of this, based on your theological claims and your view of church, what are some key elements that would be a part of the nature of church? So would worship, would word and sacrament, what are some parts around the elements that would be a part? And again, this is the same amount, 250 words or to 500 words. So this view of church comes in 2 parts. This worksheet is in 4 separate parts for the rocks. This is your worksheet number 1. I have created a folder in my Lutheranet as a place for you to post that. If you have any questions, please email me or ask somebody else in your group and see if they can help you. The last thing that I want to talk about is what's going to happen the next 3 weeks as we have speakers that are coming. You'll see week 7, we're going to do congregational and community care. We have our TA that's going to be presenting there. She's a 4th year in her PhD, and she's got 2 of our other PhD colleagues that are going to present with her. We will videotape that session and ask that you watch that for that week. And the same with the next sessions. Dwight Shiley from Congregational Mission and Leadership will present. We ask you to watch that session. And Andy Root from Children, Youth, and Family will be presenting. So those are sections that, along with the reading, by the way, there's no reading for congregational and community care. Woohoo! So watch that, do those readings, and those will be your content for that week. But then we asked each of you to participate in creating a webinar or presentation. Because we are very heavy in children, youth, and family, and we are very light in the others, and so one group is mixed and one group is in children, youth, and family, I'm going to give all of you the option to either work in a group, either the whole group or a pair, 1 or 2 other people, or to do this assignment on your own. And the presentation will be this, is you are to use the matrix. I've given you a sample, again, in the syllabus, to create a ministry matrix around areas of ministry that would then say, how does the biblical story, what theological ideas, what Christian practices, and what missional opportunities are there in each of those categories. And so you get to create the top area of that matrix and then address those things. I have created or posted some samples that students from other sessions have created. Because I've only done this in the children, youth, and family, one is a young adult sample, one is on family ministry. So I don't have any leadership or congregational and community care samples. Also, so you will do that. You will create an actual document that is a ministry matrix, but then you'll do a presentation that talks about what are some key elements for this area of ministry. Now, we have some tools to do that, or you could do a YouTube video like I have done here. You could do a PowerPoint and then do voiceover with it and make that either a PowerPoint presentation or a video. Or we have tools where you can make a webinar that we can then record, and you can have multi-people presenting if you're in more than one location. So creating your matrix and presentation you can do by yourself or in a group. And then the same with the annotated bibliography. I have noted in the email that I sent to you that we have some library staff coming to talk to our class, and we're going to record that. And they're going to talk about not only how to do it, but some resources. So I invite you to watch that. I will post anything that they hand out in your site as well as in the residential site. But then by the end, you'll see the date for that is in November. Each of you is to create an annotated bibliography for your ministry concentration area. Hopefully that will go right along with whatever you did your matrix on. And so those will work together. You'll see more information on that. Now, if you have any questions on that, I invite you to ask me that in your one-on-one, or we can talk about it through email as well. Well, I hope that this has got you started a little bit into what's going on. A reminder that those presentations are due the week of that topic, and then you will watch each other's presentations along with the speaker and the reading that go for that week, and then by the end your annotated bibliography is due. Well, I hope that you are doing well. It has been a great summer weekend here in Minnesota, but fall is coming right around the corner. So wherever you are, I hope you've had a good weekend and enjoy the coming week.